I know, you know, we all know what it is when a hot comb hits your hair on a Sunday morning, what it smells like. That's a cultural difference, not just a color difference.
Right.
So it's the culture.
You know about a hot comb scenario?
No, she don't know about no hot comb.
Because that's
You don't
old
know.
school.
You don't know nothing about.
Dax.
Denzel Washington is one of Hollywood's most respected actors, but when it comes to woke culture, he's not afraid to speak his mind. In this video, we're diving into Denzel's bold takes as he calls out the absurdities of the woke agenda and defends traditional values. From his no-nonsense stance on political correctness to his commitment to free speech, Denzel isn't just acting in blockbuster films. He's taking on the woke movement head first. Get ready for a masterclass in speaking truth to power, Denzel style.
How about this? I don't know if you saw it. There's a fake news story going around. It got thousands of shares online. You saw that. And I just thought you might want to clear it up because people are confused.
There's a few words that start with F and end with K, but that one ends with E, but it starts with F.
Yeah, but just too vague. You got to be specific right now. F, K, and E.
What was the question?
Well, that was a question. Who you wound up supporting in the election, presidential election?
None of your business.
None of my business?
Denzel has never given critics a chance, but always shuts them down smoothly and smartly, speaking the truth without falling into the trap of political correctness. When discussing race or politics, he stays grounded and addresses the real issues.
Yeah.
I want to just ask you, though, about the issue of race relations, because the film touches upon that. Right now, under President Obama, over the last 8 years, in your mind, have race relations improved under his leadership?
Race relationships have to do with race relationships. You're white or whatever you are, I'm black or whatever I am. We're standing here talking now. That's how we get things done. You can't legislate love. The President of the United States can't legislate us into liking each other. We have to step forward and ask questions about each other and engage. There's no law that says, oh, because I'm president, you all got to get along now. So it's up to us.
And there's been
He not only speaks about race and racial politics, but also about woke culture in the Hollywood industry. When talking about racial issues in the industry, Denzel made his points sharp and clear, highlighting the difference between color and culture, which impacts the industry. It's not merely about representation, but about understanding different cultures.
So why did he need a black director? Could a white director not have?
It's not
produced this
color,
work?
it's culture.
Explain the difference, because I think we're in a
Steven
space
Spielberg
right
did Schindler's List.
now.
Martin Scorsese did Goodfellas, right? Steven Spielberg could direct Goodfellas. Martin Scorsese probably could have done a good job with Schindler's List, but they're cultural differences. I know, you know, we all know what it is when a hot comb hits your hair on a Sunday morning, what it smells like. That's a cultural difference, not just a color difference.
Right.
So it's the culture.
You know about a hot comb scenario?
No, she don't know about no hot comb.
Because that's
You don't know.
old
You
school.
don't know nothing about.
Dax.
See how everybody laugh? That's a cultural difference. That's not a race difference. That's just that motion.
What makes Denzel Washington unique is that he's not just talking about the culture itself, he's calling out how it's affecting the younger generation. Denzel has pointed out how today's youth are glued to their screens, endlessly scrolling through social media without taking a moment to think critically. In his words, in this age of social media, what would you say to young people? It's a powerful question, challenging the next generation to break free from the noise and engage with the world in a more thoughtful, grounded way.
Turn it off. That's what I would say. It's hard for young people now because they're hooked. They're addicted. If you don't think you're addicted, and I'm talking about anyone, from the highest to the lowest, if you don't think you're addicted, then see if you can turn it off for a week.
For Denzel, real value in Hollywood isn't about appearances, it's about genuine talent and integrity. He knows that while Hollywood claims to push for diversity, the real decision-making power still lies with a small, mostly white group calling the shots. They may talk about change, but as Denzel points out, who's truly making those calls? For him, diversity isn't just putting a few new faces on screen, it's about who's creating and choosing the stories we see. And when it comes to cancel culture, Denzel doesn't play along. While many in Hollywood jump on the trend, he's standing firm, refusing to let it silence honest conversations or real growth.
We live in a society now where it's just first. Who cares? Get it out there. We don't care who it hurts. We don't care who we destroy. We don't care if it's true. Just say it.
Denzel has seen firsthand the chilling effect cancel culture has on open dialogue, leaving people too afraid to speak their minds. He understands the real cost of that fear. When people stop expressing themselves, we all lose. For him, it's not just about avoiding controversy, it's about safeguarding freedom of expression. Denzel believes in the power of individuality and embracing differences rather than silencing them, and he's unafraid to defend that vision, even if it means standing apart in a culture that sometimes values conformity over conversation.
There are millions of people that are falling in the gap because they don't fit in to this information age. I don't care who you are. You can promise people a whole lot, but there's a whole lot of people that are in trouble right now because they just don't fit in.
Denzel's message couldn't be clearer. We need to stop canceling people over mistakes or differing opinions. He believes that instead of shutting people down, we should open ourselves up to listening, learning, and growing together. In his eyes, Hollywood's fixation on scandal and controversy has turned into a money-making machine, but Denzel refuses to buy into it. For him, art should be uplifting, truthful, and meaningful, not drama for drama's sake. And Denzel isn't just talking the talk, he's actively working to change things. Through his production company, he's backing projects that bring unheard voices to the forefront. He's also mentoring young actors and filmmakers, encouraging them to stay true to themselves and their cultures. Denzel's especially concerned about Hollywood's shift towards sensationalism, seeing it as part of a wider issue within woke culture, which often seems to prioritize controversy over genuine expression. Take Offenses, for instance, a film he directed and starred in. It's the kind of storytelling Denzel believes in, raw, real, and grounded in meaningful experiences.
Can I ask you a question?
Hell, you got to ask me, Mr. Stewicki, the one you got the questions for.
How come you ain't never liked me?
Like you? Who the hell said I got to like you? What law is there say I got to like you? Want to stand up in front of my face and ask a damn fool-ass question like that? Talking about liking.
This next moment is even more powerful. Denzel talks about systemic racism and explains why blaming the system misses the mark. Instead, he believes the real foundation for change starts within the household, with strong values, discipline, and support. For Denzel, real progress comes from the inside out, beginning at home. It's a refreshing perspective that cuts through the noise in Hollywood.
Talked about your people from Mount Vernon saying that, you know, like they've done like 40 years in the penitentiary together. So, and, you know, incarceration rates in America has been a problem, especially as opposed to minorities. And Roman delves into the issues around the legal system. Do you think we've made any headway in the
I
legal
think it's more important to make headway in our own house. By the time the system comes into play, the damage is done. They're not locking up 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know, I was in Chicago a couple of 3-4 weeks ago, and we saw these little kids on bikes with masks on the side of their head, like 5 or 6 of them. And the driver said, yeah, they're little yummies. I said, who? He said, little yummies. Look up, Google Little Yummy. Little Yummy was an 11-year-old murderer.
Wow.
And you look at his picture, you'll see the headshot of him, and he's like this. And he got murdered at 11 by a 14-year-old.
Wow.
Who's doing life now, and a 16-year-old.
It makes no sense.
You blame the system? Where was his father?
Lily Yummy was an 11-year-old child from Chicago who tragically lost her life at the hands of a 14-year-old gang member. The heartbreaking motive behind her murder was the gang member's belief that Lily might snitch and reveal their illegal activities to the police.
It makes no sense.
You blame the system? Where was his father? It starts in the house. It starts in the home. And yeah, well, my father got locked up. Well, where was his?
Then Denzel shares his own story of growing up and how his household kept him grounded. He talks about the values instilled in him early on, crediting his family for teaching him discipline and responsibility. For Denzel, it was this strong foundation at home, not luck or outside influences, that kept him on the right path.
Like I did talk about my 3 closest friends, and they did, 15 to 25, one did 28, this and that. I was the only one of the 3 that had a father. in my life, even though my parents were together. But I still had a father who was a gentle man and a good example, and they didn't. We can blame the system if we want, but they didn't lock any of us up at 7.
Yeah.
We were all doing enough to get locked up at 13. My parents sent me in another direction. They didn't have anybody to help them, and they kept doing what they was doing, and the system got them. So I don't, the system is rigged, but why?
What do you think about that?
I don't have to think about it. I've lived it. I've been the guy at the Oscars without my name being called. I've been the guy at the Oscars when my name is called. I've been the guy at the Oscars when everybody thought they was gonna call my name and they didn't. So I've lived it.
So what would you say to the people who are looking at this process and saying it's unfair?
Yeah, and so what? You gonna give up? If you're looking for an excuse, you'll find one.
In race.
You can find it wherever you like. You can't live like that.
Denzel emphasizes that true authenticity in storytelling comes from cultural insight, not just racial identity. It's this cultural depth that he believes forges real connections and makes stories resonate. This approach leads him to a powerful critique of the current landscape, where both information and misinformation are constantly shaping how we view the world. In a sea of opinions, Denzel poses a critical question. How can we ever find the real truth?
So what is the long-term effect of too much information? The polarization of the electorate? A meter-spiritness?
And false information as well, because the whole fake news thing.
Pick one. It's not just one. That's the flavor of the day. Every day is something else. People have to understand, are you using your device or is your device using you? Can you put it down? Can you turn it off?
You're talking about literally the places people get their information from.
I don't care what information. Pick one. Phone, television. You know, it used to be news. Now it's opinions. Oh, glasses. We have 3 experts on the right, 3 on the left. Let's discuss. Ooh, light bulbs. We have 3 experts on the right. That's not news. That's opinions. Well, over and over and over. Cycle. What is the long-term effect of too much information? If you're sitting there and you're thinking it's the gospel, what I'm saying to people is, to all of us, I'm not knocking the phone. What I'm saying is we have to understand, we have to at least ask ourselves, around the world, you here in England, wherever you are, what does it do?
Denzel's message is clear. We need to be smarter about the information we consume. He directly challenges the woke movement, which often relies on viral outrage and snap judgments rather than thoughtful reflection. Instead, Denzel urges us to take a step back, think critically, and resist the media's relentless noise. He stresses the importance of accountability, not only in ourselves, but also in the leaders we choose to represent us.
You know, I think this is what I think. I think we as Americans better learn to unite. I think we as Americans need to put our elected officials' feet to the fire and demand that they work together, or they won't get back in office. You know, in this age we live in, this accelerated information age, we're getting further and further apart. We're not getting together, we're getting further and further and further apart. Everybody can't be right. But I think this is an opportunity, actually. You see how people are being energized and protesting and all that. But I think this is an opportunity for us to look at ourselves as a country and say, are we together, really? And are we holding our elected officials accountable to making sure that they're working together? Not just, hey, you're on your side, I win what I win, you win what you win. Because this is what is happening. This is what's happening. And God only knows.
Denzel's message is simple yet powerful. Real change comes from honest conversations and personal connections, not just from rules and regulations. He highlights the importance of personal responsibility in building bridges between communities. Drawing from his own life, Denzel emphasizes that commitment and accountability are key ingredients to success, values he lives by every day.
When I was 20, I worked for I grew up in Mount Vernon, New York. I worked for the sanitation department. I was a garbage man.
You were a garbage man?
I was a garbage man. I worked the back of the truck, 22 square blocks. That's hard.
doing movies. There's nothing that we do in the movies that's
what I was.
hard.
I used to deliver for United Parcel Service on a truck.
Right.
That was hard.
Yeah.
Denzel's message is unmistakable. True character comes from the daily struggles faced by everyday people, not from the glitz and glam of Hollywood. He sees beyond the allure of celebrity, reminding us that real success is built on hard work and integrity, not on fame or popularity. And that's Denzel Washington for you, cutting through the noise, standing strong against the empty promises of woke culture, and reminding us all of what truly matters. If you're inspired by his no-nonsense perspective and boldness in calling out the industry, make sure to subscribe for more powerful takes like this. Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.